This is the Sport Fishing Championship.
It's not only the final day, it's the final hour of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic. Robbie Floyd, Peter Miller, Ronnie Moore will be joining us in just a moment. We cap off this third and final day with a lot of fish being caught, Peter. I mean, the Mississippi Gulf Coast, very similar to the Louisiana Gulf Coast and the Florida Gulf Coast. They know how to catch them here in the Gulf of Mexico.
These are rich and fertile waters, and they've caught a bunch of fish. Over 50 billfish have been caught and released thus far.
Again, you see the progression. Really, day two was the one, right? Because they ran out on day one. They're going to have to run back on day three, but they really made hay on day two.
They had that storm pop up on day two, which seemed to maybe mess with the barometric pressure a little bit, and I think that might have raised the fish.
There's our playing field, and yeah, you see just how far some of these guys went out, probably past that 200-mile ring. I hope nobody went out to 4, but I did hear how, you know, we saw people going in and out with their fuel bladders. Heard some people had to come in for fuel and still go back out and fish after yesterday's event. So again, we're in Mississippi. It's the third Gulf Division stop on the Sport Fishing Championship. Welcome inside our studios. We wrap up this final day, and there's still, 30 minutes if you're just fishing outside. Maybe you can catch a championship fish or, you know, a mahi-mahi or something's out there, Peter Miller. But the one thing I noticed when I'm looking at these catches, there were more caught as far as blue marlin specific than the 3 other events prior.
You're not kidding. The bite has been very good for this tournament for blue marlin. The bite's big, it's rich, the fish are huge, and it's so different than what we saw in like the Dominican Republic, for instance, where they caught 100 white marlin. These are big fish. The fight is longer. The gear is bigger. The boats are bigger. The average boat size is about 60 to 70 feet in this tournament.
Wow.
These guys are ready. They're loaded. They got fuel bladders, tons of bait, food. They are ready for just about everything and anything.
Yeah, the blue marlin, that's key. You get the most points for them, 350 points. White marlin a little less, and we work our way down. But yeah, Venice, 23 blues, 3 blues at Punta Cana. Dominican had 5, and Orange Beach with 21. We've got 50 just from this spot. Again, they took off 2 days ago from Biloxi, Mississippi. There were 78 boats that launched from Point Cadet Marina at 11 o'clock in the morning, kind of a somewhat shotgun start. They had to idle out. Then they took off to their destination, and a lot of them had some very long runs.
Oh, those are a lot of boats. 78 boats. Can you imagine the whitewash and the wake? If you're a small boat going through the middle of that, you better pour out to the right or left and get out of the way, because these guys are coming through in these massive sportfish boats. There's a couple of 90-footers in there. So, you know, running 200, 300 miles, you got to have your fuel bladders, you got to have your fuel tanks full. We're talking a couple thousand gallons of fuel to make it happen in these big boats.
You know, you don't always have to have the biggest vessel, but let's take a look at Southern Charm. 1 blue marlin, that's 350 points. Again, everything we say is officially unofficial. These are our projected points because the official count is done, and they have to be in there with their documentation by 6 o'clock this afternoon local time. So again, this is unofficial, but Southern Charm, that one fish, I'm not sure it's going to get them in that top 20 to get event points for this event. This could be their drop.
This could be the one they drop. That's exactly it. And then here we are with Rising Suns, and they got a marlin as well.
Again, Rising Suns didn't come into this event as far as the Gulf is concerned in the top 10. They are gaining points throughout. We take the top 3 event points. Southern Charm leads that with back-to-back third-place finishes. They were hoping to get inside the top 20. We keep working our way up through Patron, another one of our teams that we've had cameras on, and we want to tell everybody also, look at these long runs. It was rough water. It was bad conditions last night. We didn't have the camera crews able to come back in and out because there are some seriously long runs, and it was dangerous.
And those guys are tough, and they can handle pretty much anything. And for them to say no way, you know they're way too far out there to be able to do that run.
Bandito came into this event. I think they were in 7th place. Again, they had a lot of misses in that first stop. They backed it up with a 2nd in Orange Beach. And looky here, a couple of blue marlin. That's 700 points. It's going to put them up the leaderboard. Should put them around that 6th place range. And then there are a lot of teams with 2 blue marlin. And we do ties here. I know it's not typical in your world, Peter, but whoever has that amount of points stays at that amount of points. It's not done on time for their first fish.
They play nice. They play nice in their 66 Jim Smith.
All in, another team on there. What did they catch here in the Mississippi Gulf Coast? A single blue marlin. It's good enough for 350 points. But we've learned if everything stays the way it is, one fish not going to get you probably into that top 20, or it's going to be hovering right there. There's a lot of teams that haven't quite been able to report. Again, you're farther out, you're calling in, we're doing our best, they're doing our best, but it's not official till the end.
That's right. When they get back to the dock, they're going to have to look at all the catch cards and the pictures and the photos and all the video to make sure who's got what, and they keep everything fair and square.
Yeah, and look at how they caught them through the day. Today, starting at 11:30 this morning, I know Relentless, Bandito. Let me go through my thing. Let me try and find out who some of these anglers are that were catching this. But again, these are the updates we've had throughout the day. 11:30 was Relentless, Dylan Pazantine, Haywood Sanders on Sunrise with their catch. Who else do we have? Looking good.
Just looking. Shockwave and Skin Deep.
Yeah, Awesome Blakeney on Shockwave. Skin Dave had Sam Haley on board. It just takes time. We don't have who caught that one, but we know they've been tearing it up here, just like they did last year. I believe it was Killshot Cook that was doing the catching. Chapman Cook, the man on It Just Takes Time. We'll talk about them when we return to the Sport Fishing Championship on sportfishingchampionship.com.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
Remember, everything begins in the morning. Every story told is a fisherman's tale. We build watches tough enough to be a part of that tale. The perfect balance of beauty and brawn. We are Seaholm. Watches that last a lifetime. Seaholm Automatic, the official timepiece of the Sport Fishing Championship.
See it, live it, love it. The largest in-water boat show in the world, the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. More than 3 million square feet, fishing boats to super yachts, engines, accessories, learning experiences, and culinary delights. Save the dates, October 26th through 30th. Details at flibs.com.
It all comes back to the water. This binding agent. This fluid history of connection. Past, present, and future, all tied together through this never-ending, unwavering force. We belong to a community of seekers, anglers, and everyone in between. For us, it's more than fishing, much more. It's who we are, who we were, and who we aspire to be. We are Smith.
SFC coverage of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic is sponsored by Seaholm Watches, by Smith Optics, and by Fish Razor Tournament Grade Tackle.
As all of our boats head back to Point Cadet Marina, they'll also be heading to the Golden Nugget probably here in just a bit and put some money on the line, because there's several teams that are going to have a lot of cash in pocket here very shortly, Peter Miller.
You're not kidding. They bring these fish in, whether it's a tuna, or mahi, or wahoo, could be something else, but they're going to be getting a lot of cash for getting the biggest fish on those scales.
Absolutely. Those are our championship fish as well. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation, we know what they do for the ocean, the education. They went to the Maritime and Seafood Museum, that's right, Maritime and Seafood Museum, and they did a little sea and sail camp. It's kind of an education. You know, it's not just about telling everybody about stuff. You've got to take that in. You've got to learn about it. And it's a great opportunity for everybody to catch up and see what to do.
And the kids here are 4 to 18 years old, so it's a great way to start them off young.
How many schools have you gone to through your lifetime? I know Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation does it, but I mean, I'm sure you've talked to a kid or two in your days and doing that to educate the youth.
Yeah, I do a lot of seminars. I do a lot of fishing seminars, and I got a lot of kids that come out to say hello, and I teach them a few techniques, and hopefully they'll take it with them, catch a lot of fish, and then teach their kids.
Might have a future Guy Harvey there with the paintwork. How's your painting doing, Peter? You any good?
I'm pretty good. My daughter's really good, Emily Miller, but, you know, I'm not bragging or anything. She's really good.
She'll be selling stuff here in no time. All right, let's go on site with Site One. We've been missing somebody. Haven't seen him in a while. Been trying to get him to go to the casino and the tables. Ronnie, welcome back, Ronnie Moore. The fans, let's talk about this. I saw yesterday, you're actually having the show, and you may have it on now, in the background with a big video board. This is not just a tournament event. It is a spectacle in Biloxi.
Oh, it benefits Biloxi. It benefits the Golden Nugget, Point Cadet Marina. I mean, all of the local places and the restaurants. People come out of town to see this big Billfish event. It's obviously the biggest one in the Gulf that we know of and that we've had so far for the SFC season. So it's definitely a fan attraction. There's all kinds of booths set up here, and the foot traffic is definitely evident. And this is before fish are really even coming, or teams coming back from fishing are even here yet. So once those get here, all those big boats show up, all the teams come back and talk to their friends and family. It's going to be a big time show here.
Hey Ronnie, is this common to catch this many blue marlin in this particular tournament, or is this you know, status quo or higher or lower? What are you thinking?
I think that this was the expectation from the whole entire week. Coming into this event, the conditions were setting up right. Obviously, this is one of the, if not the biggest tournaments that we'll have all season for bill fishing. The teams were stoked for this event. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's just blue marlin, white marlin, yellowfin tuna, mahi, wahoo, all of these fish, they expected all of those bars and the records set this week to be broken this week. Now, we know Moncherry in the first event in Venice, they caught 6 blue marlin and they took the top spot there. We may not see the top team have that many blue marlin, but overall for the field, you're going to have to at least catch one, maybe even more than one, just to get top 20 placement points.
Yeah, exactly right. And I want to talk about one thing, too, because the Sport Fishing Championship is a catch and release tournament, but within that, we partner with the event.
Yes.
And that event, they have certain rules and whatever, and they actually maybe bring in one marlin and whatever. And that biggest fish is the big fish. That's what the fans come out to that event to see. There is so much money on the line for one of our teams that is fishing in the SFC and is in that tournament. They could walk away with hundreds, not 100, but hundreds of thousands of dollars today.
Yeah, I was telling you guys Thursday morning that Wednesday at the captain's meeting, I don't know, about 6 o'clock p.m., it was about $600,000 in the pot. 3 hours later, everyone jumped in and it over doubled it. It was $1.3 million in the pot. So if you get in all of those blue marlin kind of listings that you want, you can end up taking home quite a bit of money. It's interesting to see how it's playing out, but we do know, looking at the catch alerts, the one thing that's for sure, there aren't any teams fishing. They're all coming back. So looking at our leaderboard, that 3 p.m. catch today from It Just Takes Time, that could be the one that puts them over the top for the 3rd year in a row. I was wrong earlier. I said back-to-back. Well, that's true. They're back-to-back, but they can go 3-peat this week.
And we're eagerly awaiting that photo finish to see who caught that first blue marlin first, because I know it's neck and neck, so I'm really excited to hear about that.
What's interesting about that, Peter, is that Team Shockwave, I believe, and Team Necessity were the two that caught the first blue marlins of the event. So we've been waiting to award that 100 points when we see the photo and video evidence of when that leader was tagged and when that time was flashed on the electronics. Those 100 points will separate 2nd through 4th, because it seems like there is a good tie between a lot of those different teams, and 2 of those have a shot at 100 bonus points when they get back to the dock. It's always good to get rewarded points after you're done fishing, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ronnie, on site with Site One for all the scoop. And he's exactly right. Necessity, Shockwave, if they both catch 3 blue marlin, who's going to catch that one first blue marlin and get that extra 100 points? Let's talk about the championship divisions. Again, these are the three categories that they actually can bring in a fish in the Sport Fishing Championship. Ronnie's going to see these fish. We've seen pictures of these fish. I know the Invincible Boats Yellowfin Tuna division. I think we're going to have a new leader here. This one, that is a monster. The previous leader was, what, 152 pounds?
Yeah, and I think this fish is pushing 190, close to 200. It looks pretty good. Those look like some stout fellas there next to it, and that's how I'm kind of measuring it.
Terry Myers going, darn it. He was our Orange Beach, Alabama participant on questionable judgment. Let's move on to the wahoo.
Better known as Ono at the sushi bar, if anyone's wondering what they're eating when they're eating Ono. That is the wahoo, and they are fast, and they hit it, and they run as fast as they can away from the boat. It's quite amazing.
Corrales' Maricela, I think you're not going to be in the lead anymore. I think we're going to have a new participant on the wahoo side. What did it come from? Miss Ma'am. We don't know if that's Tate Yancey or not. We know he's caught a blue marlin. If he caught that wahoo, it's been a good week for O'Tate. As Ronnie talked about, it just takes time throughout the day. It showed their blue marlin jumping up there at the last moment. We're also getting reports. There it is. That is it. At 3 o'clock, it showed that it just takes time. That could be the one that did it for them. And not only that, Peter, we're hearing reports, and again, they're texting their buddies on shore. That's a big one. I mean, it's not just a fish. It is the fish.
They could have a three-peat here. That is not common.
We've seen 1,000-pound fish before. This one, they're saying, could be 900 plus. It just takes time. They are catching them on the Gulf of Mexico. We got one more segment to go. Stick with us on Sport Fishing Championship.
The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation is honored to be the official charity of the Sports Fishing Championship. Through this partnership and the support of donors like you, future generations will enjoy and benefit from a naturally balanced ocean ecosystem. Our education programs, both in the classroom and online, bring to life the work needed to make sure we have clean oceans for decades to come. Join us today at www.ghof.org.
Sometimes saying no can be really difficult. It's hard to set boundaries, to give yourself space and time. Hop water means never having to choose between having fun or missing out. A sparkling hop water full of flavor and packed with mood-boosting benefits that's non-alcoholic with no calories, no carbs, and no sugar. So go out there and get up to no good.
Serious. You are as excited to wake up for a 4 a.m. fishing trip as you were when you were a kid. It means winning 3 World Sailfish Championships. It means you know what you need and what you don't. Being serious means seeking out the ultimate fishing machine, which is what Peter Miller has found in the unmatched handling, speed, and comfort of an Invincible.
It's the simple things, like spending a day at the beach, splashing in the water, playing in the sand, and creating sandcastle masterpieces. Rediscover fun and family on the beautiful white sand beaches of Gulf Shores and Orange Beach.
SFC coverage of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic is sponsored by Sword Fishing Products, by Publix, and by Hugo Waterproof Products.
Bobby Floyd and Peter Miller here with you for the wrap-up of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic. They've been out on the rigs and the platforms the entire time, Peter. You've been there, you've experienced, you've lived out there. I mean, it is the life. These things light up like a city at night.
It's epic imagery, what we're seeing right there. And when you're out there, you feel so small when you look up at these. It's like these spaceships are out there, and it's so peaceful yet kind of eerie. But the fish tend to bite at night really well at those rigs, and it's a great time to put it out there while the grill's cranking, catch those tunas, maybe catch those swords. It's a lot of fun.
You gotta have a little catch and release in the grease with some of those little tuna you're trying to catch as well. Sushi time, Biloxi, Mississippi. It's the third stop of the Gulf Division. It's our fifth stop overall. We've got 11 in total, but look at this playing field and look at how far in the different depths and stuff. You can really get a lot of variety here. If you want the potholes and the semi-deep stuff, you have that. If you wanted to get a steep wall drop, but everything has to kind of align. They have to be in that perfect mixture of depth, current, wind, color, nutrients. I mean, there's a lot of factors.
You got that all right, Robbie. You know, it's really important to have all the factors and all of these things lined up together. You know, you go for the depth, you go for the water temperature, you go for the rips and the weed lines, and then you have the loop currents that everyone's talking about. You got to focus on these things, and then you put together a plan and you zero in on the area you want to be in, and you have to be confident, and that way you'll stay there and catch those fish continuously.
What about you? Are you amazed at how many blue marlin were caught here? We saw some white marlin as well, at least 5, 6 of those. We've seen sailfish as well, quantified. Again, 3 whites and 3 sails. They're doing something different each time, but that's a lot of blue marlin. 78 boats, 50 something. I mean, almost everybody got one.
Yeah, you know, I've never fished this area per se, but I believe that, you know, to catch that many blue marlin in one area like this is pretty impressive, and they're good sized fish as well. And then combine that with a few white marlin like sprinkled in there, some nice big tuna, some sailfish. It's a really great area, and I plan on going back there to fish one day.
Absolutely. I've been in the general area before. I've tried catching those tuna. I would love to have a 200-pound tuna, much less the blue marlin. That would be what I was going for. Billfish Championship points. Now, this is the overall. And again, you're not seeing any Atlantic Division things or teams in there for the most part. I know Doña Lucy's in there from Punta Cana, but we've already had 3, and this is projected standings right now. But Montcherie, them catching them here, took care of that 0 they had at the second stop. You know, the best 3 finishes or what you get your event points from.
Exactly. And so Southern Charm, with them catching just 1 fish here, they can kind of drop this tournament because they know they're going to fish the Emerald Coast, they're going to fish Texas, so they're going to drop one of their worst scores.
And looking at that too, because they had 7,700 coming into this event, that's projecting them to be in that top 20. If there's other teams that mixed or in there and caught like 1 sail in addition, it drops them out. They don't get any points, and then we see other teams really jumping in the picture. But quantified, they're doing it the hard way. They're 3rd overall in this championship, and it's not from blue marlin alone.
No, they are getting a fine smattering of all billfish species. They're going for the whites, the blues, the sails, and they're doing it well. They're doing it well.
Bandito with that 2nd place at the 2nd stop, a 6th here. They still got that 0 they're looking to drop, but let's take a look ahead. Look ahead with Smith Optics, see where we're going next. It's our penultimate round of the Gulf Division. We're going to be up the coast in Florida, not this weekend, not this coming weekend, but the one after, Peter.
Oh, come on. I can't wait that long.
No, it's been a while. We've been hammering down pretty much constantly since the start on April 30th, but the Emerald Coast Blue Marlin Classic, you're going to see teams that are making runs very similar to what we saw here. Similar waters, Gulf of Mexico, but maybe not that triple Lindy run, if you will. They're not going to go 500-600 miles out. They cannot push it that far.
Definitely not. What's great about that place is that they have great food, great fishing, great beaches, and you can bring the family, so it's a win-win for everybody.
That'll be in Miramar, and you see all the Atlantic events going back to back to back. It is going to be a fun July, I promise you, on the Sport Fishing Championship.
Now, Robbie, I think we're going to have the good luck of possibly attending one of these events and broadcasting live from the docks, from the starting point, where all these anglers and all these boats are going to be heading out.
Absolutely. On the spot, we're supposed to be heading to Martha Vineyard, one of our Atlantic divisions, but we need to cap off the 4th stop, the Gulf, at the next round, the Emerald Coast Blue Marlin Classic, or 2 Thursdays from now. And again, you can follow us on sportfishingchampionship.com. For Peter, Ronnie, I'm Robbie. We'll see you then.
SFC coverage of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic is sponsored by Invincible Boats, by Gulf Shores and Orange Beach Tourism, and by Lamont Bikes.
A day out on the water could go great. or it could have a few minor setbacks. Things could get rough, or you could lose that $900 smartphone. Whatever the problem, Yugo provides unmatched premium protection for any water sports adventure. Yugo. To get yours, visit YugoWear.com or simply scan the QR code on the screen. And remember, just add water.
Some call it joie de vivre, the joy of life. In Louisiana, it's our way of life. From music that shakes up your senses to food that wakes up your palate. That joy vibrates in every note we play and spices up every meal we serve. So come live life to the fullest. Come one, come y'all, come feed your soul in Louisiana. I'm Sean Ardway, inviting you to plan your trip at louisianatravel.com.
So, you want this, but you can't have it without this, or this, or this. Until now, introducing a new way to travel, intranationally. Get all that international charm without ever leaving the country. Right here in St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Get all that culture, all the cuisine from that culture. You're welcome. All the gram-worthy sites from that hashtag culture. It's right here at home. St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Travel intranationally.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
When it comes to performance, comfort, and functionality, we've got you covered. Performance apparel designed by anglers to make your time on the water better than ever. Salt Life, the official apparel sponsor of the Sport Fishing Championship.